how are you guys doing today? This is Brayton, and today's video is going to be going over my supplement routine. What supplements I take daily, every other day, weekly, once on blue moon, all that good stuff. And kind of like why I take them and, the reasons behind it, things that I'm experimenting with, my anecdotes, and kind of like my reasoning behind all the supplements I take. And of course, at the end of the day here, a lot of supplements I take is because, well, I have a lot of food allergies and things I'm allergic to. So it's easier for me to get through supplement form, and that's why I do it. So anyways, I'm just here to share my anecdotes, my opinions, my reasoning, and like the literature I've seen on a lot of these supplements here. And, I seem to be pretty fond of them, and, yeah, so let's hop right on it. All right, so the first supplement we're gonna disclose here and kind of talk about is my probiotic. My probiotic is actually a prebiotic and a probiotic mix, so technically it classifies as a synbiotic. Now, I take around 50 billion CFUs daily, so that's 25 billion in the morning, 25 billion at night. Once in the morning, once at night. And the AFU content is here for the prebiotic there. Now, why do I take a synbiotic? Usually probiotics are for people who have, a lot of gut problems, this and that, some things, that they're like, I'm having terrible, stool, diarrhea chronically. Obviously, yes, probiotics are used for that. But there are a lot of other things that, having good microbiome is important for, like things like your skin is very important for, your cardiovascular health, your mental health. That's honestly one of the biggest changes I had is especially when I was younger, having a terrible diet, food allergies, honestly causing chronic inflammation in the gut, helping your microbiome just be more healthy. It really can help a lot when it comes to your just mental health. And I definitely noticed that, definitely not as much depression and just kind of feeling gloomy all the time, just feeling like blah and like brain fog. And, honestly, that's probably the biggest thing I noticed, especially when I changed to having, proper gut microbiome, and having this synbiotic is a supplement, honestly. So that's why it's like the first supplement I disclose. And I think it's very important and underlooked that people should definitely take care of their gut, because a lot of things stems from that. Your gut is known as the second brain. So it's important to, take care of your gut. But obviously you need to eat lots of fiber and lots of good greens and fruits and stuff like that. Obviously that's really good for your gut as well. But I am allergic to a lot of fruits and vegetables. So it's kind of difficult, So at times, I guess that's kind of an excuse for me to get away with, taking a symbiotic or probiotic here. Obviously, I think it's one of my expensive supplements, but I think it's worth it, especially the just amount of benefits it has here. And I'll disclose kind of different strains I have, and what their differences, their importances, and what they really kind of do here. So honestly, I think it's one of my personal favorite supplements that I take, and that's made one of the biggest differences in my life. So personally, at least, that is my anecdote there. So next up on my list of daily supplements that I take NAC, or N-Acetyl Cysteine. NAC is kind of like the abbreviated form of it. So NAC is a precursor to glutathione, one of the body's most potent antioxidants. And so glutathione helps scavenge for free radicals, helps with oxidative stress, helps detox the liver, helps cleanse out the lungs. There's a bunch of different things that NAC has been shown to do, even like for the brain too, and obviously the skin too. So since it's a potent antioxidant, at the end of the day, I'm gonna supplement it. So, but glutathione itself, if you supplement it, doesn't actually raise glutathione levels in the body as much as actual NAC, which is kind of ironic. Now the injection form of glutathione might be a little different, but NAC is inexpensive. And, I'm a big fan of NAC, and I've been taking it for a while now. So the only thing really with NAC is it kind of smells, I think it has more of that sulfur kind of smell that it has, especially in like the capsule form. I take 600 milligrams a day. And so yeah, I'm a fan of NAC. What I take with it as well, I take 1 gram of time-release vitamin C, ascorbic acid. So of course it's vitamin C, one of the most potent antioxidants that your body you should have for your body, especially in supplement form, since, humans can't naturally produce it. And so, yeah, I supplement vitamin C gram. It actually helps with the absorption of N-Acetyl Cysteine. So, in general, I think it works well. I take them together. So, yeah, obviously, a lot of people should take vitamin C. There's so many benefits time and time again that vitamin C has been shown. Obviously, I think you should be taking a capsule form instead of like a gummy or chewable, just because ascorbic acid is not good for like the teeth and, of course, the stomach as well. So, obviously, I think a time-release capsule is personally what I take. And so yeah, after that, I take selenium, which around 200 micrograms I'm taking at the moment here. Now, selenium helps build antioxidant enzymes in the body, but it depends on like the form of selenium as well. But of course, I can't get selenium through my diet very easily since I'm allergic to like shellfish, seafood, and a lot of nuts. So I'm gonna supplement it. And so I take selenium with vitamin C and NAC. And so yeah, I think I might change it to 100 micrograms to take daily because 200 micrograms daily is a little too much, I think. And so I usually take selenium every other day, but I might change it to 100 micrograms as well there. So yeah, those are kind of like the three main that I take daily, as long with the probiotic as well. Zinc, something I might add into my diet just because I believe I'm not having too much rich or foods that are rich in zinc. Depends on how much meat I'm intaking and, you know, if I'm logging my certain foods, you know, because I use certain apps like Chronometer, for example, to help kind of log my micronutrient intake and see what I'm low on and, you know, too high on. So yeah, so I might supplement some different antioxidants too, just to try it out, like quercetin, for example, maybe like lycopene too, but there's so many different antioxidants out there. I would actually love to hear your guys' opinions and what you guys take, your anecdotes, what you've seen in the literature of your guys' favorite antioxidants and what you guys supplement and why you do it. And so yeah, I'd love to hear that just because, you know, I'm a big fan of that. And yeah, so anyways, that was kind of like the main antioxidant supplementation form. We'll get into the next section here. So the next supplement is going to be methyl-folate, and this is the form methyl-folate here that I take at 400 micrograms there. And now the conversation of like methylated B vitamins is interesting. I've never personally got a polymorphism test, you know, to see if I have the polymorphism where it's like I can't process certain B vitamins, but I think it is important to take the methylated forms just to be sure, since it's so common that these polymorphisms exist and where you can't, you know, certain methyl donors you don't get through your, you know, your diet properly. Like I don't supplement creatine every day, so, or I don't supplement choline every day. Some people, obviously the methyl B vitamins doesn't apply to, but I think in the literature, I think methylated B vitamins, it's important to actually take this format for them. But that is just my opinion and my anecdote here. So yeah, plus methyl-folate has a lot of other properties that it has as well. And honestly, a lot of these supplements I take for, you know, hair, skin, and I guess I could say nails as well, but a lot is that for like the complexion, the dermatology aspect for these things. A lot of supplements I take for that reason only, but obviously the antioxidant properties as well, because it's also a vitality channel and health channel as well. It's not just hair and skin. So yeah, anyways, we're gonna get into the next supplement, which is chromium picolinate. And exactly, now I take some different forms of chromium I'll put up as well. Now chromium is an interesting supplement that I take. Now not only does it help with blood sugar spikes, but I've noticed that taking especially like a mega dose of chromium picolinate, it actually crushes my hunger a lot and I get almost nauseous. Not actually nauseous, but it's like certain foods make me like, ugh, I don't eat that. Like foods that are junk foods, they make me kind of, that is my actually anecdote using chromium picolinate at a high dose at least. And so I use chromium to help with blood sugar spikes, because I do sometimes overindulge in the sugar. So, you know, I can't control myself sometimes. So obviously I would do something like berberine as well to help with, you know, insulin spikes, but I don't worry about it too much. I'm pretty lean at the moment here, so obviously, I'm not stressing it too much. And chromium, it's a pretty cheap supplement or inexpensive supplement, and it's actually in my complex here. So, I mean, that's why I'm still listing it here. And obviously, you don't want to have too much because it could be toxic. That's why I've kind of slowly made sure I'm intaking less chromium. Actually, I used to have an old supplement I take that had a lot of chromium in it, and then I was taking this supplement with it, and I was like, okay, this probably is a little too much. But yeah, I still take chromium picolinate and chelate as well, and some other forms here. So yeah, after that, we're going to get into Myo-Inositol, which is an interesting one. Now, inositol we could put for short. I take 2 grams of it. My anecdote, I've definitely noticed better skin and maybe better hair-like quality, especially on like the sides. Now the top may be a little different. We could put that into like my 5-alpha reductase inhibitors that are causing like better density in my hair. So honestly, I think I could put that the inositol may, anecdotally, I've taken high doses in inositol, actually improves my hair and skin. Now, technically, inositol is a B vitamin itself, but honestly, I can't just like put a pin and needle on like, hey, inositol is doing this for my hair and skin, because I'm taking a lot of antioxidants, a lot of like pro skin and hair, you know, supplements in general. So you know, I can't just pinpoint, it's the N-Acetyl. Now, I've done an N-Acetyl experiment just by itself at like 2 grams, and I'm actually gonna probably up it to 4 grams here of N-Acetyl just to see, like, just all around if my skin complexion gets even better, or like if I start, because at the moment here, my diet has not changed at all. I'm still eating lots of dairy, and I am definitely prone to acne. I still get outbreaks, and it's, especially if I eat like fast food or something that's very high in greasy, fats and stuff, and high sugary foods. I definitely get outbreaks, especially like on my jaw. I still get outbreaks, and I definitely notice that my skin does change, and I still get acne sometimes, like on my chest and or shoulders. Sometimes it just really kind of depends, because acne can break out due to just hormone imbalances and just fluctuations. It's not really just like one thing that's causing acne. There's so many different things that cause acne, of course. So I can't just be like, the N-Acetyl, that's what's doing it, So, but no, I take it just because, like, maybe, I honestly just may be taking it. And it's inexpensive, so I'm like, well, at the moment, sometimes the prices for N-Acetyl skyrocket. So, after N-Acetyl here, I have Alpha-Lipoic Acid, ALA, the form. And alpha-lipoic acid is a potent antioxidant and seems to be pretty, honestly, the literature I've seen of alpha-lipoic acid is pretty promising. And I'm a big fan of the supplement, and I think it has some good things, like, things what helps with acne. I feel like that's a big one a lot of people have anecdotes on, especially with some things like the heart as well, that it might actually help with. But in general, I want to actually increase my dose of alpha-lipoic acid. I want to increase it to probably around 300 milligrams or 600 milligrams, maybe at the high end here, instead of 100 milligrams. I'm using 100 milligrams because it's in my complex, but I will be upping the dose for alpha-lipoic acid. Next, we got, of course, protein powder, whey protein powder, isolate, hydrolyzed, in general, just to have, highest quality protein powder. Whey protein's easily digested, and it's high in cysteine, as is one of its main amino acids. So another glutathione precursor. And, it's high in, things like BCAAs, as well, the branched chain amino acids for, triggering muscle protein synthesis. It's just a good protein source because, well, in general, like, of course, I love milk, and, so, like, whey protein, I love it. Plus, there's so many good flavors of it. But some people be like, but, like, the artificial flavoring and stuff, I could eat meats, but I'm allergic to lots of meat. Like, I'm deathly allergic to poultry, so that's like chicken, turkey, and other bird products, and seafood and shellfood, or shellfish, not shell food. So a lot of lean meats are off the chart here, and of course I eat pork, which I do. I eat a lot of pork. Don't get me wrong, but it's so tiring to eat all the time. And it's just like, all right, we have the pork today, hot sauce, ketchup, ranch. Okay, so like, whey protein, there's so many different various flavors and stuff, and it just tastes good, easy to get down. It's not eating, just like tons of pork all the time, which I already do, but, I can eat, red meats like steak, which I love steak, obviously, but, and beef, but, eating a lot of beef sucks, because it's like, not only is it super high in like saturated fats, and getting lean beef is kind of pricey. And certain meats are pretty pricey, especially if you want them lean. Just, they cause digestive problems for me sometimes, actually. So whey protein's honestly just been amazing. First, we're gonna get into is my insoluble supplement, or insoluble fiber. Sorry, I just cut out a word there. Insoluble fiber supplement form, which is selenium seed husk. I take around 1 to 3 grams. I don't take it every day because it just depends on how much water I've intaked for that day, and how much fiber I've had for that day. And if my gut is destroyed from, like, if I went out to eat fast food, or I've had like sugar alcohols or something, it really depends, on different scenarios that are happening in my life where I'll take, selenium seed husk. Now, it's important to drink a lot of water because, selenium seed husk, which is an insoluble fiber form, insoluble fiber likes to collect water and sugar, like going through the gut, and that can make you dehydrated. And obviously, if you don't have enough water in your system, it can just clog your gut more. It causes the opposite effect that what fiber is supposed to do. So it's important to drink a lot of water, and selenium seed husk helps keep you feel full, helps keeps things moving. I think it's a great supplement, very inexpensive, and yeah, I'm a fan of it. And so yeah, that's why I take it, like, every couple days, or a couple days a week. Now, for sleep, I don't take much, and usually, a lot of people take things like melatonin, glycine, magnesium glycinate, which we will talk about here at the end, but I take a certain supplement called emodin. I'll put the form right here. Emodin in general, 250 milligrams there. 500 if, if I build up a tolerance. Personally, anecdotally, and some people that I know as well that have taken emodin, it helps a lot with anxiety and kind of going in that downward spiral if you had a lot of anxiety. Now, which sometimes I do, and like I'll take 250 milligrams even in, and it helps just kind of stop from the downward spiral of getting worse. Of course, though, it does make me pretty lethargic and tired, which is why I take it usually before bed. And if I'm only extremely like anxious and or like my adrenaline's pumping, only like if something, obviously if I just got a workout or something, helps me kind of calm down. Obviously, you don't want to take this in the morning. But personally, I have had great experiences with the supplement. And would I swear by it? I don't know, but this is one of the only supplements where it's like, okay, I do see a pretty noticeable difference when I take it and I start to actually feel like super calm and relaxed. Now I don't use it all the time because, well, it can cause some gut and GI distress. So that's why I don't use it much. I maybe use it a couple times a week at the most, just because, it can cause distress in the stomach. And of course, I sleep just fine without it. Typically, it's only nights where I get like super stressed out and or I'm anxious and or, my adrenaline's pumping and I'm like, all right, I gotta get to bed early or, this or that. So, yep, that is emodin there. All right. So the next segment here is going to be my performance supplements for like working out to help boost, my workouts to be maybe even better. The benefits that those supplements have on vitality, health too. We'll dive into that literature and why I take these certain supplements. And then I have like a cognitive boosting supplement regimen as well for like certain things where I need more cognitive awareness, more kind of like laser focus, I guess you could say. These certain supplements actually seem to have a decent impact on, my cognitive performance and, how well I articulate words, how articulate I am, eloquent in speaking. It's typically sometimes I'm all over the place. But yeah, anyways, we'll dive into that in the second segment of the second segment. But the main one here is performance and like the supplements I take for working out. And kind of like my anecdotes that I have on them and the other benefits that these supplements have as well on the body. First, we're going to start out with L-Citrulline, a potent nitric oxide precursor. So nitric oxide is potent for, dilating the blood vessels, getting the nutrients to the certain parts of your body. Now, this can be good for working out, getting a proper L-Citrulline. 10 grams I use here, so this is going to have the maximum doses seems to be in the literature to help with nitric oxide levels to, maximize and make sure you get that pump in the gym, but as well as just getting the nutrients to the proper organs, the muscles, and etc. And so I take the supplement just because, well, nitric oxide, it's important to have. It's healthy for all over the body. It's important to have proper circulation. And in general, if you want to get L-citrulline naturally, there's things like, watermelon or the melon categories, like cantaloupe. Well, I'm actually quite allergic to watermelon and cantaloupe. Not as bad as chicken, but it just gives me like a scratchy throat. My ears start to itch, and I get like sometimes hives, and it's just not worth it. So I supplement it. That's why. Betaine Anhydrous. So Betaine Anhydrous is I take around 2.5 grams to 5 grams of Betaine Anhydrous. Betaine Anhydrous, well, we can call it Betaine, but Betaine in general can help with things like fluid balance as well as electrolyte balance as well. So I guess it kind of falls into the same thing there, but helps with performance when it comes to the power aspect as well, and making sure electrolytes are balanced is good. You don't get like lower back pumps, for example, or shin splints. That could be obviously like too much of a certain electrolyte, sodium, and that aspect there. Betaine Anhydrous, there's some other literature that it has on performance, power, and all around endurance. And kind of to follow off that, I take Creatine Monohydrate, which obviously is like one of the most like research-backed supplements of like all time. You could take, of course, it depends on your body weight, height, stuff, etc., of how much grams you should take. Basically, I take 2.5 to 5 grams of creatine. Not actually daily. I actually take it every other day. Just really depends on how much water intake I've had for the day. Sometimes I just kind of forget to drink water, and it sucks. And I'm like, all right, can't take creatine for today because obviously when creatine is metabolized into creatinine, it's not good for the kidneys, and especially if you have not drank enough water. So obviously, I'm a little sometimes hesitant on taking creatine on certain days. But creatine, obviously, prominent source for ATP, giving you that energy boost. hyperhydrating the muscle, especially with like the Betaine Anhydrous. Synergistic can work with balancing electrolytes as well and just giving more push and drive. So creatine obviously is one of the best supplements. Honestly, it's probably the most potent supplement in like this formula here and actually performing or having performance outcomes, especially with something like they're ergogenic. Creatine is ergogenic, and like same with something like caffeine as well. They're evidence-based on that, and they've done hundreds of studies on, you know, creatine and, you know, caffeine for anaerobic and aerobic workouts to show that they're ergogenic. So yeah, obviously I don't want to get into like all the creatine benefits. Well, obviously it's good for your brain. It's good for, you know, being a methyl donor. It's creatine. It's like one of the best supplements. So next I use Glycerol, which is a hyperhydrating agent here for the muscle. Obviously this is good carb source as well. If you want to, I like to put carbs, a lot of carbs, typically up sometimes 80 grams carbs. Sometimes I use 25 grams of glycerol liquid powder too, and yeah, glycerol liquid, comma, powder. Yeah, and then some other nitric oxide precursors and boosters as well is something like nitrosogene, the trademark ingredient for N-Acetyl stabilized arginine silicate. But yeah, it seems to be pretty potent at boosting nitric oxide levels. I think it was the same level as 6 grams of L-Citrulline of how much nitric oxide it was to be a precursor to. I think I'll just put the study up there. Yeah. Next after that, we have VasoDrive-AP, which obviously another form of nitric oxide precursor. You know, obviously those I think are like the top, you know, I think best things for a workout and getting just the best all-around drive for it. Obviously, I'm leaving out like caffeine and like, you know, potent stimulants. We will actually get into caffeine and the stimulants here in the next part here. So, or it's kind of like brain boosting formulas to actually have more for drive, because this part is more for just like the boosting of the energy out there for your body, you know. But when it comes to mental alertness and all around just more like stimulant energy, this is when we get into the second segment here. So next is my cognitive aid here, my neurotropic stack for cognitive performance. You know, times where I'm like about to take a test, about to, you know, play a game where I need to be, you know, mental alertness, top 1 precision, all that good stuff. So, you know, this is kind of like my stack here of like different supplements I take for, you know, times like that. Obviously, it's more rare, you know, at the most, sometimes like once a week, you know, but obviously I don't take, you know, the neurotropic stack too much because I don't want to be like, reliant, I need it, you know, here and that for focus, but it does help at certain times where I feel very, very brain foggy or I'm just like not all there and I just need an extra kind of boost. So first off, we'll start with L-Tyrosine here. So L-Tyrosine is an amino acid. It is a precursor to L-Dopa, then to dopamine there, so a neurotransmitter. Tyrosine in general in literature seems to be pretty promising, especially when compared to amphetamines and some other drugs as well. So tyrosine seems pretty promising in that aspect. It can be dosed up to 5 grams, typically where it is the most beneficial. Some people even dose it around 500 milligrams. I do around 1 gram to 2.5 grams to 5 grams, how I dose it. And anecdotally seems to work pretty well for me at keeping more just like a maintained focus and just all around just cognitive performance as well. Obviously, I can't just pinpoint L-Tyrosine is doing what's everything here because there's a lot of things in this, you know, in my cognitive stack here. So I can't just be like, L-Tyrosine, that's what it is. So next up here, we have Alpha GPC at 50%. Now, comparatively to other forms of choline, it seems to be the most bioavailable and seems to be the best format for actually raising choline levels and getting through in the blood-brain barrier comparatively to most forms of choline. And so that's why I personally am a fan, and it seems in studies and anecdotes as well, it seems to be pretty promising comparatively to other choline forms. And so obviously it can be dosed differently here. I typically take around, it can be different. I think the clinical trials is even 200 milligrams can be beneficial up to I think 1,200 milligrams, but I typically take around 400 to 1,200 on the most. Rarely when it comes to a neurotropic standpoint, when it helps with motivation, drive, and having more of an acute, just all around mood. Honestly, that's one of the supplements I feel like have been a big notice because I've supplemented with Alpha GPC kind of by itself, and honestly, it's one of the better like neurotropic supplements in my opinion. It also seems to be pretty good with raising growth hormone levels as well, just in the literature too. Now, another thing I would add as well is that high doses of Alpha GPC and choline in general can raise TMA levels in the gut, which isn't always the best. In general, I feel like a lot of red meats are high in TMAO. especially with the conversion in the gut, at least in this scene, the TMA level, high TMAO levels are not very good. So obviously, like some people's blood work, it shows that high dose alpha GPC or choline in general can have an increase in TMAO. Now, if you're worried about this, I think you can take a supplement for it. Garlic, that's actually something that helps cut off the conversion of TMAO in the gut, which is a fun fact. But in general, I think dosing alpha GPC around 1200 milligrams or like over a gram is a little too high in my opinion. And I think around like 800 is a good high dose, which is good. But obviously, that's my opinion, choose yours how you will, and do your own research on how you feel on alpha GPC at certain dosages. Next up is L-Theanine, around 100 milligrams to 200 milligrams. I've done up to like 400 as well, but 400 is where it kind of gets me a little sleepy. So obviously that's good for like a parasympathetic state and helping sleep at night or really kind of calm down a lot. While 100 and 200 are usually good for in a pre-workout formula or even like a cognitive aid, because L-Theanine has been shown to be good for brain performance and cognitive health. A lot of these like neurotropic aids kind of help with norepinephrine precursors, so they help you with that focus, that drive, that kind of like more fight or flight type of thing. While L-Theanine kind of takes the edge off a lot of like stimulants and kind of like that norepinephrine adrenaline feel. So yeah, in general, I think L-Theanine around 100 to 200 is a good dose. And there's certain people who are very sensitive to caffeine, and I think that they pair very well together because it takes off the jitters, and it also has some good benefits for its brain cognitive support as well. Next up, we have Huperzine A. Is a herb used for focus and alertness as well. Around 200 micrograms, 400 micrograms, typically what I take. I've taken high doses of it, and I honestly feel a little bit more jittery on that aspect. Though in general, some people, it really depends on their drug metabolism, on how well they tolerate certain supplements, and especially like stimulants and neurotropic ingredients, because everyone responds differently. Now, in general here, there's some other ingredients in this formulation that I'm not going to name off or label as well. That's the same with my last formulations when it comes to pre-workout formulas that I have for performance. Honestly, a lot of things have either very minute amount of literature and are just a lot of bad literature, where it's just like certain studies are just like not that much. Like they're rodent studies, for example, or this and that. Now, some rodent studies can be promising, but I'm not saying that all the ingredients in this formulation don't help and work together synergistically. It's just some I just think are better than others, and I picked out the better ones. And obviously, I don't want to make this video extremely long, because there are plenty of B vitamins that I'm missing out as well in this formulation, which I might label here. But most people get B vitamins through their diet naturally. I probably do as well. B vitamins are pretty much everywhere. At the end of the day here, though, some things I'd like to put in of supplements that I'm personally trying or experimenting with that may not have the best literature behind it, but, and some people may not be fans of. We'll just kind of start off with here is HMB. So HMB is an interesting one. I'm going to be taking it on a cut, so like very low amount of calories I'm intaking. So we're going to try it to see if we're going to maintain muscle better, if I maintain leanness better, and this and that. Obviously, I can't just be like, HMB, that's what caused, or that's what's doing it, and if my physique's leaner. It could be many other things. It could be, my dutasteride I'm taking. It could be this or that. We don't know if it's just HMB downright. And the literature I've seen seems to be pretty promising on it. So far. Obviously, there's some contradictions, and this is my opinion on it, but that is just kind of like something I want to be experimenting with at the moment here, and I'll be logging it and, taking it in the next couple months. After that, there's some supplements I will be wanting to add, or probably be needing to add, especially for health and vitality in general. That would be something like vitamin D, for example, D3, at a certain dose. That I obviously want to be adding into my diet, because obviously most people don't get enough vitamin D through their diet naturally, especially in the wintertime. Now, it is the summer right now, so I'm not going to be, too stressed on like taking vitamin D, and I get outside quite a lot. Also, a fun fact as well, even though I get out in the sun a lot, I do obviously wear proper sunscreen, make sure at SPF at, SPF 50 I take, usually on like my face, shoulders, and obviously most of my body. But I've noticed that I tan really well when my dose with L-Tyrosine very high. That's a fun fact for L-Tyrosine. But in general, I take N-Acetyl Cysteine, which is a glutathione precursor, which whitens your skin. So I've noticed when I take N-Acetyl Cysteine for a long period of time with no L-Tyrosine, my skin is harder to tan, and it actually clears out where it's like a lot more white and pale. Comparatively to if I take high doses of L-Tyrosine and I didn't take N-Acetyl Cysteine before, I've noticed my skin's gotten darker. But yeah, that's kind of like a little fun fact tangent I got into there. Next up is probably omega-3s and different types of fatty acids there. Now, obviously, I want to get my blood work done before I add anything like this into my diet. Make sure I get a high quality one as well, because I know a lot of different omegas and, you know, fish oils I can't get through my diet because I'm allergic to fish and a lot of nuts. That taking it supplementation form, high quality form, is important, because sometimes if you get bad fish oils, it can be more detrimental to your health and your fatty acid profile and lipids and all that good stuff. So I think that's probably a good one to maybe supplement as well that I want to be adding. So maybe something else would be like maybe more creatine in the future, because creatine is just a good supplement in general, and making sure I just drink more water. I think that's a good one as well. Some other things I want to try just for fun, which would be ubiquinol. Ubiquinol I've tried before. I actually have a video on my channel for it, on like the pre-workout ATP conversion that it has. I think coenzyme 10, CoQ10, converts into ubiquinol, so it's kind of the end form, but ubiquinol has only got more and more expensive. So it's a very expensive supplement. So we'll see in the future on how that works. In the meantime, I think my certain supplement regimen is more based for dermatology, hair and skin, and for the antioxidant properties it has and how it affects my skin. That's kind of where the main basis of my supplements are here, which obviously this channel is kind of more based off that, so that's why I'm kind of taking them. And obviously for my thesis here is that, well, I have actually not used any types of topicals. I've really cut out the sulfur soap, which I could put in my skin routine and hair routine here, just because there's a comment just recommending, hey, we should probably cut out sulfur. I'm going to take their comment and I'm going to, you know, apply it to myself. So I stopped with the sulfur soap, and so we're not using any facial cleansers or anything like that right now at the moment. You know, I'm not going to say like, this is it, this is the cure, this is that, because everyone's body is different. So I'm not going to be like, you know, this is the cure for acne, this is the cure for oily skin. You know, everyone's very different on that. And, you know, obviously I'm going to be using skin topicals in the future and, you know, things like tretinoin more often and stuff like that. But just at the moment here, I've just had great experiences with the supplements I had. And obviously I'm younger, so I can't just be like, this is the cure for saggy skin and all this and that. So, or like terrible, or having better skin quality in general. So, but yes, take how you will. I am not a medical professional at the end of the day here. This is kind of just my thesis here. So yeah. So in conclusion here, I like to take certain supplements and I like to experiment. So obviously you don't need supplements, and you know, they're only like food is top priority here. Supplements can be used for preventative measures acutely. They are not the cure. So I only use supplements because it is a fun pastime for me, and it's just a non-itchable scratch that I can't itch. Does that make sense? It's just a fun thing that I enjoy, and obviously I'm not breaking the bank that much. Even though there's a lot here, I'm not actually, you know, spending that much money on supplements. Hope you guys enjoyed, and if you guys have any anecdotes you guys want to share, any stuff you want to share from studies you've seen on certain supplements, anything in this video you disagree with, and you're like, hey, you should maybe add this instead of this, you should do this, and you know, here are my, you know, anecdote. This is my you know, experiences with the stuff, you know, your studies you want to show, and, you know, stuff that I maybe should add as well if you're looking for like an antioxidant properties and certain supplements, and this supplement worked really well for you, and all this and that. The comments are appreciated, and I appreciate the conversations. It's heck yeah, I kind of want to make in this video so I can get so I can be like, hey, more supplements to try. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like. Comments are appreciated. And yeah, I will be seeing you guys soon. So, have a great day. So, bye.